Karrie K back with more Dirty Laundry, and today we have Sebadoh.
Self-righteous and rude. I guess I lost that cool.
Our last record was released in 1999.
1999. What's been going on in the meantime for each of you?
Jason put out a solo record. He went on tour and had this guy play drums with him.
That's how I met Bob.
I'm new, so I don't have there's no before and after. So.
But you've had a little bit of something going on in the meantime. You're of Fiery Furnaces fame, yeah?
Yeah, was, yeah.
Yeah.
As Jason was as well, yeah.
Okay. Do you think that the Fiery Furnaces will ever get back together again? And if so, will you be part of the...
I would be if asked, but I don't think that band will ever play again. I don't think the Freeburgers will ever. That's my hunch. I have no substance to it except Eller's having a great solo career, and she's been waiting for this a long time, and I don't think she's up for a fight with Matt.
Her solo shit's really good, but you think sibling rivalry just took over? It's not going to happen again?
I think the enjoyment of freedom will override the need to challenge herself for quite a long time. But I mean, to the future.
Bob, what do you think?
I don't know. I'd say, judging from talking to them, there's a possibility that they would. But
if it happened, would you play drums for them again? Maybe.
Maybe.
Lou, you don't remember, but this is my third time meeting you, actually. The first time I met you, I offered you a stripper ale, which is indeed a beer.
An alcoholic beverage.
An alcoholic beverage.
Not a person.
You politely declined that time. The second time I met you was at The Smell, and you were about to perform, and I had a flask of whiskey. No, I had tequila. And you took a swig of my tequila, and I was crazy stoked because I was like 22 years old. And I went and told my friends that Lou Barlow just took a swig of my tequila. And this is our third meeting. I think it would be only fair if I offered you and your bandmates.
Oh my gosh.
This. How did I know?
We're famous.
It is famous.
Thank you. It's great.
Of course.
I was just thinking that, I could go for a drink, actually.
Why did Sebadoh stop touring together in the first place? What caused the split, if anything?
People didn't like us anymore.
Is that true?
No, but it's kind of true. I mean, we were playing club. We were, at our height, we were playing to a lot of people, maybe 500 people in Dallas, Texas. The last show we played together, there was like 20 people in Dallas, Texas. So we that was sort of the message that we received.
Yeah.
Like, hey, take a break, guys.
Yeah.
Let us listen to the Strokes and Interpol now.
So.
That's what it was. I mean, it was a big change. Like Sebadoh became a little bit passé, and so we, Jason went off and did his thing. I went and did my thing, and we just took a little break.
So what caused you to get back together again? Why now after 14 years?
Well, we started touring together in 2004, as a duo, and then we just kept doing tours almost every year, pretty much since 2004, right, Jake? Pretty much.
We actually kind of didn't break up in a way, but I think we got back together because we realized 20 people is still better than no people. It's definitely an upgrade. Because we went off to do our own things, which I thought were pretty good, but people cared about even less, seems like.
Exactly.
So, we had to turn to each other once again, summon the power that we don't even understand. It worked.
What is founding member Eric Gaffney up to these days? And why isn't he on the record? Do you still have a relationship with him?
We did a reunion tour with him, and we played with him again in 2007 and 2008, and I thought it went really well. But then sort of after it was all done, he sent me extensive emails telling me all the things I did wrong in the tours.
Like what? What did you do wrong?
I made fun of him on stage, apparently.
That's hilarious.
I didn't really know that I was doing that. So anyway, he usually has a list of complaints about the terrible things I do to him. So, I just really didn't want to deal with that anymore. So that's why he's not here.
Right. I know that he went on to do some solo stuff. Do you know what he's up to these days?
He
Or
just released a solo record. Yep, called what is it like? It's a vegetarian. He's a born again Christian, vegetarian, vegan thing. He's got that going on. He calls himself Jesus Christ.
Hashtag.
The Lord Jesus now.
The Lord Jesus.
His new name on Facebook is the Lord Jesus.
I feel like that must be taken.
He's a militant vegan. He is. He makes cartoons every day about how not eating meat.
Jesus totally was a fisherman, so where does that fit in?
Yeah, I don't know. He was always a vegetarian, but except when he would eat hamburgers. So that was always. I remember I busted him once. It's like, I'm a vegetarian. He told somebody, I'm like, dude, you eat these burgers, these gas station burgers all the time. What's up with that? And he got really mad at me. So it was another instance of me humiliating him in public. So rather than continue to humiliate Eric by playing music with him, I think I've decided to you know what? I mean, it's just I don't know.
That's why.
Can you tell us a little bit about the recording of Harmacy and what was going on in the climate of Sub Pop at the time? I know.
It was awful. Yeah, it was supposed to be our big breakout record, and we spent a lot of money on it. And Sub Pop collapsed halfway through the touring of that record. Jonathan Poneman and Bruce Pavitt had a huge falling out. And then we were kind of implicated in all of that, I guess, because they spent a lot of money on Sebadoh and Super Suckers and who knows what else. And it's and then when we recorded Harmacy, also our producer, the first thing he told us was to fire our drummer, which we didn't do.
No.
Because he was a friend of ours.
Why? What was their reason?
He just wasn't making the songs pop,
What was the sound they were looking for? What were you up against at the time?
What were we up against? We were, let's see, what were we up against? 97, what were we up against? Lemonheads, I would say.
We had Hayfield.
Hayfield.
The Eels.
Yeah.
Bush.
Bob Dylan's son.
Bob Dylan, the Wallflowers.
Yeah.
Yep, we were up against.
Oh, dear.
What else were we not as good as?
Goldfinger.
Barf. Wow.
Goldfinger. Face to Face was one of the bands.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were up against a lot of. Yeah, we just didn't really. They were looking for a new, a snappy, modern sound, and we weren't really delivering it with the lineup.
You were doing the lo-fi 4-track reel-to-reel recording back then. How has the recording process changed since then?
Well, we do it on a computer now.
The information age has dawned.
We just do it on a computer. Jay, for the last record, I have a practice space in Glendale. And Jason set up his computer. We borrowed a bunch of stuff, a couple of mic stands, a couple of magic boxes to process the signals. Make a record.
Rolling with the times.
Rolling with the times. Well, but I'm, just keeping it simple. Keeping it simple.
Right on.
Right?
Yeah, more things change, more they stay the same. That's what I always say. No, but we're back to being able to do it in our rehearsal space, kind of how Lou and Eric started out the band, and how we recorded the first stuff that I was in the band for was literally in the garage with the 4-track. These guys were really in the zone doing that, and there's a certain obvious creative freedom when you have all the time in the world.
Yeah.
And you can really get weird and stay in the garage for way too long and get into what you're doing. It's very different than any studio normal studio environment.
Yeah.
And it's kind of fun to know that you sort of cobbled it together with you're making something really great that's bigger than the sum of its parts.
You have a song on the new EP, My Drugs.
My Drugs.
And how? What are your drugs?
My drug of choice is weed,
Weed.
but I find that it does take over my life sometimes. It seems like a very benign drug, and it's always heralded as such a thing, but you know, I need to take breaks from it. That's kind of what that song is about.
Okay.
Just taking breaks from it, you know.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah.
Okay. Sober people scare the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, I mean, that's a weird paradigm to think that you don't want to hang out with certain social, like when I put on the idea that like I kind of don't feel comfortable around these people, and I realize it's because they're not partying.
Yeah.
That's weird. Didn't figure that out.
Final question from fan Lloyd Taylor.
Hi, Lloyd.
Hi, Lloyd.
Thank you for participating in our
Thank
interview
you.
today.
In our very first ever live feed fan question, ask them if they will ever play Bake Sale live in its entirety. That's a good question. Great record.
No.
Will you ever play? Oh, Lloyd.
No.
No. I feel like after decades of being sort of an indie rock idol, you're still surprised when people are a fan of you. Is there something that you're pushing for? Because it seems like in your own brain you're never good enough. Is there still something that you're pushing for? When will you ever be like in your own head, like what is it going to take for Lou Barlow to be good enough for Lou Barlow? An Oscar?
No.
I mean, it seems like you're just always
Head injury.
Head injury. Thank you.
A complete change of personality brought
he
on
could do
by
this right now because he's got a lot of hair.
blunt force trauma. Knocking his normal self,
Man, that's
self-doubting self away.
No, I mean, I don't. No, I'm lucky. I'm an extremely fortunate person.
Take for granted that people pay attention to do
I don't take that. Maybe that's it. I mean, I don't need. It's not validation I'm looking for
No,
outside so much.
I feel like it's something that's like more internal. And that's the question.
I don't know. That question actually makes me feel really uncomfortable.
I did it.
Good job.
I made Lou Barlow feel super uncomfortable.
Interview master Lou Barlow is brought to his knees.
Feels like